Hola, Ceci Arely. Mucho gusto, soy Francisco Alberto Espinosa Moreno. Y pues bueno, vamos a comenzar la sesión síncrona del día mejor dicho, de la semana 5, que se compone del 19 de octubre al 25 de octubre del 2020, ¿ok? Y bueno, como ya te... Hola, buenas tardes, Ceci. Como ya te lo había dicho, mi nombre es Francisco Espinosa, yo voy a ser su nuevo tutor de Lengua Adicional al Español 1. Y bueno, un gusto estar con ustedes. Espero que en el transcurso de la sesión síncrona se integren más personas, ¿ok? Preguntas, dudas hasta el final, ¿ok? Otra pregunta, ¿tienes micrófono y cámara? ¿Me puedes contestar por chat o me puedes contestar por voz? Porque ahorita lo vamos a necesitar. Cámara no, micrófono sí. Ok, ok, bueno, al final entonces. So we're going to start this synchronization. So the first step or the first thing we are going to do is to introduce yourself. Well, I'm going to introduce myself and then you're going to introduce yourself. Okay, so first, my name is Francisco Espinosa Alberto. My name is Francisco Alberto Espinosa Moreno. I have a bachelor degree in arts. I have a bachelor in arts and my degree is in translation and interpretation in linguistics, applied linguistics. Also, I have a master in arts and my master degree is in teaching languages. To be more specific, in teaching English as a foreign language. Also, I have some courses like Chinese course in China in the UIB, which is University of International Business and Economics of Beijing. And also I have a certificate teaching knowledge test, which is a certificate granted by the University of Cambridge. I am 29 years old. I am from Salinas Victoria, which is quite close to Cienega de Flores, but at this moment I am living in San Nicolas. And well, I think, well, part of my professional career, I've been working in primary school, like 3 years, from 2017 to from 2014 to 2017. Then I started working in a high school at the UMM, which is Universidad Metropolitana of Monterrey, from 2017 to 2018. And from 2018 up till now, I'm still working, actually, at the Facultad of Arquitectura in the Universidad Autónoma of Nuevo León. Okay, teaching English, of course, and also at the Universidad Ciudadana, teaching English in high school. Okay, so, well, that was part of my professional career and also my academic career too. And, well, I speak another languages, Chinese, Italian, French, and a little bit of Portuguese. But, well, that's out of the English topic here, but it's good to know, it's good you to know it, okay? So you said something in the chat. Okay, yeah, got it. Okay, so at the end of the class, you're going to introduce yourself, and if another person integrates in the class, well, okay. So the first topic we're going to review is auxiliary verbs. As you can see, well, if you saw the videos I gave it to you through the platform, well, you already had you already had something, you already knew something about auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verbs are helping verbs. Why? Because they are needed to form many of the tenses If you want to express present tense, if you want to express past tense or future, well, you are going to use auxiliary verbs. The most used auxiliary verbs are the verb to be, the verb to do, and the verb to have. Okay, and well, for example, we have the auxiliary for the auxiliary to do. Well, we need the auxiliary to do in order to ask questions in the present tense and the past simple tense. Also, the auxiliary to be is needed for the present and the past continuous. Those verbs, those tenses, we are going to review it next, well, after the exam. I'm sorry, next week, not after the exam. So, and also used for the passive forms. And well, the auxiliary to have is used in the present and the past perfect tenses. Some tenses, like the present perfect continuous, and more than one auxiliary. Okay, so the verb to have, it is more common use in the perfect tenses and also in the continuous ones. So here in the green chart are some examples of those auxiliaries. Okay, so we have, do you like German food, which do, it's acting like an auxiliary in order to form a question. Does your mother speak English? If you remember, we are going to use do with the verbs. I'm sorry, with the pronouns I, we, you, they, and they, and we are going to use those with the pronouns he, she, or it. Okay. So another example here is with the verb to be as an auxiliary, and it's a question. Says, why are you talking? You should be listening to me. Okay. So another example is, a new road is being built behind the school. I'm sorry. My father has never visited the USA. Okay. If you remember, or if you can recall it, we are going to use the conjugation of verb to be are with the pronouns we, they, and you. We are going to use the conjugation is with the pronouns he, she, or it, and the conjugation am only with the pronoun I. Okay. For the auxiliary verb to have, we're going to use to have with the pronouns I, you, we, and they. And for he, she, or it, we are going to use the conjugation has. Okay? So now, another topic which is quite important and it's a review is the simple present tense. So the simple present is a verb tense with two main uses. We use the simple present tense when an action is happening right now or when it happens regularly. So depending on the person, the simple present tense is formed by using the root form of the verb or by adding an s or es at the end. Okay? When are we going to add an s or an es at the end? Well, when we were talking about the third person or when we using the personal pronouns he, she, or it. Okay? So for the personal pronouns I, you, we, and they, we are not going to change the verb form, but for the third person, which is Maria or Pepito or Carlos or whatever, or the personal pronouns he, she, or it, we are going to use s or es at the end. When are we going to use s? When are we going to add s or es? Well, later we'll see this explanation. But right now, we're going to have some examples in here. The first example says, I feel great. If you can see, we are using the personal pronoun I, so that's why the verb feel isn't changing. The other example says, Pauline or she loves pie. If you can see, we are talking about, we're talking about the third person. We're talking about Pauline or we are talking about she. So that's why we need to add an s at the end of the verb. Okay, so the other use of the present tense or simple present tense is to talk about habitual actions or occurrences. So, um, if you can differentiate them, the first use is to talk about regular actions or habits we have, and the another use is to talk about habits. Both are the same. We are going to use simple present tense to talk about something that is happening at the moment, or no, I'm sorry, I'm mistaking those. No, we're going to use simple present tense talking about something that we usually do. For example, I eat breakfast every day, okay? So for actions that we do with regularly do, or habits, okay? And times expressions used with the present simple present tense, well, every day, every week, every year, every spring, every autumn, every fall, every summer, every winter, okay? Every morning, every afternoon, every evening. So those times expressions are going to mark that we are talking about something that happens, well, every morning or every week, something that happens regularly. And that could be a habit or just a thing that happened. Okay? An example of this we have here, and says, Carolina and I mean, we eat all the weekdays. Paulina practices the piano every day. Miss Jackson travels during the summer. Hamsters run all night. If you can see in those examples, those actions are actions that happens very regularly. For example, in the first one, all the weekdays from Monday to Friday. Okay. And the second example, every day from Monday to Sunday. In the another example says during the summer, every summer she travels. Or in the last one, all night. So the whole night, all the days, hamsters run. Okay? So simple present tense, it is used, and I'm gonna be very like precise in this. Present tense is used to talking about regular actions or habits. Okay? El presente simple. Bueno, ¿cuándo se va a usar el presente simple? ¿Cuándo vamos a hablar del presente simple? Bueno, vamos a usar el presente simple cuando hablemos de cosas que sucedan con regularidad o hábitos que tengamos. Es decir, pues si estamos hablando de cosas que pues, suceden con regularidad, pues es lo mismo que un hábito o algo muy parecido. ¿Ok? ¿Qué sucede con el presente simple? Bueno, pues el presente simple va a requerir o requiere de una conjugación. ¿Cuándo va a entrar la conjugación en juego? Bueno, cuando estemos hablando en tercera persona o usando los pronombres personales he, she or it, que son él, ella o eso, pero no el payaso. I mean, se usó it para el payaso porque todos los niños le decían eso. Bueno, esa es otra historia. El punto es que si estamos hablando o si estamos usando he, she or it, o estamos diciendo María hizo esto, Pepito hizo esto, Carlitos cantó, Juanito bailó, ¿ok? Vamos a tener que usar la conjugación en el verbo. ¿Y cuál es la conjugación? Bueno, pues al verbo se le tiene que agregar una S o una ES al final. ¿Ok? ¿Cuándo se le agrega la S y cuándo se le agrega la S? Bueno, pues eso lo vamos a ver en unas diapositivas más adelante. ¿Ok? Ahora, ¿cómo se forma el presente simple? How to form simple present. In the simple present, most regular verbs use the root form except in the third person in singular, which ends in S. Okay? So, we have here an example, the verb write, which is escribir. The first person singular, which is I, we're going to add we're going to write, I'm sorry, or we're going to say write. For the second singular person, we are going to we're going to say write without S. But for the third person in singular, not in plural, just for singular, he, she, or it, we're going to write, I'm sorry, we are going to say writes, which is the conjugation. If you can see, we have in here the S at the end of the verb, okay? And for first person in plural, it's write. Second person, it's write. And third person is, for plural, of course, is write. Only in third person singular, it's writes, okay? And well, as I told you, for a few verbs, the third person singular end with es instead of s. Typically, these are verbs whose root form ends in o, ch, sh, th, double s, gh, or d, okay? And well, ¿cómo se forma el presente simple? Bueno, pues el presente simple, como ya te lo había mencionado, se forma agregando una S al final del verbo, ¿ok? ¿Cuándo vamos a agregar la S? Bueno, cuando estemos hablando en tercera persona del singular, que es con los pronombres personales he, she, or it, ¿ok? Ahora, ¿cuándo se usa la ES al final del verbo y cuándo se usa la S? Bueno, la ES se va a usar cuando el verbo termina en O, CH, SH, TH, S, GH o Z. Y un ejemplo de esto es el verbo go. Verbo go, que es ir. ¿Okay? El verbo go en tercera persona tiene que ir como goes, o sea, ES al final. No podemos decir goes porque no tendría sentido. La regla es que si terminan en O, CH, SH, TH, S, GH o Z, hay que agregar una ES. ¿Cuándo no? Bueno, pues con cualquier otra de las consonantes o vocales que no se mencionan en esta pequeña lista, ¿ok? Ahora, eso era para la forma positiva o afirmativa de la oración. ¿Cuándo vamos a usar la forma negativa? O mejor dicho, ¿cómo se forma la oración negativa del presente simple? Aquí es cuando entran los auxiliares. Los auxiliares do or does, okay? And the explanation says, the formula for making a simple present verb negative is do or does plus not plus root form of verb. You can also use the contraction don't or doesn't instead of do not or doesn't, okay? So for the personal pronouns I, you, we, and they, we're going to use do. And for the personal pronouns he, she, or it, we're going to use those, okay, plus verb. Here it's important to mention that we don't need to add an S or yes at the end of the verb in negative because the auxiliary does is acting like that S at the end of the verb. Just give me a second. Okay, so an example of this says Paulina does not or doesn't want to share the pie. If you can see, the verb want doesn't have the S at the end of the verb. And another example of this says she doesn't think there is enough to go around. To make the verb to be negative, the formula is to be plus not. I am not a pie lover. You aren't ready for such delicious pie, okay? So, now the simple present in the question form. So the formula for asking a question in the simple present is do or does plus subject plus root form of verb. For personal pronouns I, you, we, and they, we're going to use does, and for personal pronouns he, she, or it, we're going to use does. An example of this is, do you know how to bake a pie? How much does Pauline love pie? If you can see here, we have here we have the auxiliary do, then we have the subject. Just forgive me for my horrible drawings. And then we have the verb in the root form, okay? Here is almost the same. So here we have a question word, which is how, but we need to follow this structure. I'm sorry. We need to follow this structure. We have does plus subject plus verb in root form, okay? This is formula for success. If you master this formula, you are going to be able to ask questions, to talk in negative, to express negative things, or to express affirmative facts with the simple present. So now, I already told you a question word, which is how, that it's not quite relevant. The most important are in here. And we have the question word what for, when, where, which, who, whom, whose, why, and, well, of course, how. When are we going to use what? When we want to ask for information about something or ask for repetition or confirmation. The first use, an example of the first use is, what is your name? We are asking for information. And the second use is, what? Can I hear you? You did what? You are asking for a repetition or a confirmation of something. When are we going to use what for? When are we asking for a reason or asking why? What did you do that for? Okay? When are we going to use when? When asking about time. When did he leave? Where is when we want to ask for a place or position. Where do they live? I live in Salinas. I live in San Nicolas. I live in Cienega. Another question is which, and asking about choice is the use. Which color do you want? Which movie is your favorite? The question who, it is used for asking what or which person or people. Okay? Who opened the door? Who did that? My dad opened the door. My cat did it. Okay? And here we have quite tricky questions. Whom and whose. When are we going to use whom? When asking what or which person or people as an object. Whom did you see? Oh, my brother-in-law. I can see him. Whose? When asking about ownerships. Whose are these keys? Whose turn is it? Well, those keys are my parents. The turn is yours. Okay? Whom is for asking what or which did something. Whom is for asking which person or people. Whose is for asking about ownerships. And then we have why, which is asking for reason or asking what for. Why do you say that? Because I want it. Okay? And well, the question word how is used to ask for manner. How you know it? Manner or quantity? How? How you know it? Well, I know it because I study a lot. How much is it? 2,000 pesos. Okay? How is used for in order to ask for manner or quantity. So now the other topic in your week 5 is adverbs of frequency. Those words are words that modifies the verb. An adverb of frequency tells us how often something is done. Adverbs of frequency include always, constantly, continually, frequently, infrequently, intermittently, normally, occasionally, often, periodically, rarely, regularly, seldom, sometimes, etc. And here we have a chart or table, whatever you want to call it. And here we have the frequency, the percentage. 100% is always. I always go to bed before 11 p.m., of course. 90%, usually. I usually have cereal for breakfast, but just on weekends, I have eggs. 80%, normally or generally. I normally go to the gym. 70%, often or frequently. I often surf the internet. Not all days, but quite a bit. 50%, sometimes. I sometimes forget my wife's birthday. Well, happily, I don't have a wife yet, so I didn't forget anything. 30%, occasionally. I occasionally eat junk food, just a few days of the week. 10%, seldom. I seldom read the newspaper. 5%, hardly ever or rarely. I hardly ever drink alcohol. I don't like it. Isn't tasty. And 0%, never. I never swim in the sea. I got frozen just to think about it. Okay. Los adverbios son palabras que modifican a los verbos. Nos dicen si la acción se hizo muy fuerte, muy rápido, muy despacito. En esta ocasión, los adverbios de frecuencia nos dicen qué tan seguido sucede algo, sucede esa acción. ¿Ok? Ahora, si te fijas en la tablita, tenemos desde el 100% hasta el 0%. El 100% indica que siempre se hace y el 0% indica que nunca. Entonces, always es siempre. Usually, a veces, normally, generally, normalmente o generalmente. Often, pues seguido. Sometimes, a veces. Occasionally, en ocasiones. Seldom, rara vez. Hardly ever, casi nunca. Never, nunca. ¿Ok? Así es como se usan los adverbios de frecuencia. Y los adverbios de frecuencia pues indican qué tan seguido se hace algo. Por ejemplo, en el primero dice, I always go to bed before 11 p.m. Nos está diciendo que siempre go es el verbo, es la acción, digo, modifican al verbo, siempre se va a la cama antes de las 11. Usually have cereal for breakfast. So, usualmente desayuna cereal. Normally go, often serve, sometimes forget, occasionally eat, seldom read, hardly ever drink, never swim. Un adverbio siempre tiene que ir antes de un verbo. No puede ir después. No puede decir, I go always to bed. It doesn't make sense. No tendría sentido. ¿Ok? Lo que te decía, la posición de los adverbios en una oración. An adverb of frequency goes before a main verb. Dice, un adverbio de frecuencia siempre va antes del verbo principal, excepto cuando el verbo principal es el verb to be, am, is, or are. ¿Okay? Y la estructura es sujeto, adverbio y verbo principal. I always remember to do my homework. I es el sujeto, always el adverbio, remember el verbo principal. He normally gets good marks in exams. He es el sujeto, normally el adverbio, gets es el verbo principal. Ahora dice, un adverbio de frecuencia siempre va después del verbo to be. La única manera en que podemos poner un adverbio después del verbo es cuando tenemos el verb to be. Y los ejemplos aquí dicen, they are never pleased to see me. They es el sujeto, are es el verb to be, never es el adverbio. Pero si te fijas, después de ese never hay otro verbo, que es please. Pues nunca de los nunca va a ir, nunca de los nunca después de un adverbio de frecuencia va a ir otra cosa que no sea un verbo, ¿ok? Puede estar entre dos verbos o antes de un verbo, pero nunca seguido de un sustantivo o de otra cosa, ¿ok? Another example says, she isn't usually bad-tempered. She es el sujeto, isn't es el verb to be, usually el adverbio, Y esto, that temperate, es una verbal phrase. Está hablando de la manera en que se desarrolla el temperamento. ¿Ok? Dice, we can also use the following adverbs at the start of a sentence. Usually, normally, often, frequently, sometimes, occasionally. You can say, usually I go, or no, that's wrong. Usually go to the movies every weekend, whatever. But we cannot use the following at the beginning of a sentence. Always, seldom, rarely, hardly ever, ever, and never. ¿Ok? Ahora, aquí en esta sección hay, bueno, no, en el temario vienen time expressions dentro de lo que se tiene que ver para esta semana. El problema es que yo no tenía mi libro, bueno, el libro que están usando, que es el de Editorial Patria. El problema es que en el libro, y no lo sabía, las time expressions vienen como expresar, viene el nombre del tema es time expressions, pero la explicación gramatical es para expresar el tiempo, no expresiones de temporalidad. Como quiera. Yo les puse un video en la plataforma que es para explicar estas expresiones de tiempo que nos sirven para saber si estamos hablando en presente, pasado, futuro. Estas que tenemos aquí son las que se usan para hablar en presente, que es el tiempo que hemos visto, que se vio, bueno, ya vieron, no lo vieron conmigo, pero ya lo vieron. Y bueno, es nada más para que lo tengas ahí en cuenta. Lo que viene en su libro y lo que va a venir en el examen es decir el tiempo, telling the time, ¿ok? ¿Cómo vamos a decir el tiempo? Bueno, pues es muy sencillo. Si la hora es en punto, pues vamos a decir it's, la hora, o'clock, ¿ok? Pero si de la hora, por ejemplo, son las 2:05 de la tarde, o sea, mejor dicho, desde el minuto 1 hasta el minuto 29, vamos a usar desde el minuto 1 hasta el minuto 29, vamos a usar esta manera de decir la hora. Primero vamos a decir cuántos minutos han pasado de la hora en la que estamos. Por ejemplo, si es la 1:05, vamos a decir it's 5:13. Okay, it's or 1. Depende si dices, o sea, si es un 13, o sea, si es horario militar o el horario normal. Pero siempre vamos a decir primero los minutos, después vamos a usar la palabra past y luego vamos a decir la hora en la que estamos, ¿ok? Cuando es la media hora, cuando son los 30 minutos, pues vamos a usar it's half past, es la mitad pasada de la hora en la que estamos. Pero del minuto 31 al minuto 59 vamos a usar esta otra formulita. Vamos a decir primero cuántos minutos faltan para la hora que sigue, ¿ok? Por ejemplo, si son las 2:45 de la tarde, vamos a decir it's a quarter or it's 2:45. No vamos a decir que son las 2:45, vamos a decir es un cuarto para las 3. ¿Ok? Ahora, estas dos maneras, bueno, tres maneras, es la manera compleja. Existe otra manera que es decir, pues, la hora con los minutos. Por ejemplo, si te pregunto, what time is it? Y son las 2:30 o 2:50, me puedes decir, it's 2:50. Son las 2:50. Y también es correcto. Es más propio usar estas estructuras, pero también es correcto decir horas con minutos. O sea, cualquiera de las dos formas que uses es correcto. ¿Ok? And then it says, we use at plus time when giving the time of a specific event. The class starts at 9 o'clock. The flight leaves at 10 to 3. Vamos a usar la preposición at, más la hora o el tiempo cuando estemos dando información del tiempo muy específica o algo muy específico de algún evento. Y los ejemplos aquí dicen, la clase comienza a las 9 en punto. The class starts at 9 o'clock. Okay? And then we use it, is, or it's to answer a question that asks for time right now. Cuando nos preguntan por el tiempo en ese instante que te preguntan, what time is it? Tú vas a decir, well, it's 4:30. It's 20 to 5. It's 2:35. ¿Ok? De esa manera es como expresamos el tiempo. Y en su libro así viene. Yo no me había dado cuenta porque no lo tenía hasta apenas hoy en la mañana me di cuenta. Su libro así vienen las expresiones de tiempo. Es cómo decir la hora. Pero bueno, ya saben también cómo expresar de manera correcta el presente simple con las otras expresiones de tiempo. Ahora, otro tema que se toca en su libro son las preposiciones de lugar. In, on, and at. ¿Okay? ¿Cuándo vamos a usar in? ¿Cuándo vamos a usar on? ¿Y cuándo vamos a usar at? Permítanme un segundo. ¿Cuándo usamos at? When are we going to use at? To refer to a position or location which we see as a point. I was sitting at my desk. Also, to talk about locations at companies, workplaces, when we see them as a place of activity. How many people are working at Microsoft? How many people is working at the grocery store? Etc., 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 etc. Okay? Also, to refer to activities which involve a group of people. Were you at Lisa's party? Also, at the cinema or at the theater. Okay? With the school, with the words school, college, or university. She always did well at school. She always did bad at university. To refer to an address, they once lived at number 12 South George Street. To talk about public places where we get treatments, such as a hairdresser's or doctor's surgery. I can meet at 4. I'll be at the hairdresser's until 5. To refer to most shops. Look what I bought at the butcher's today. Okay? The preposition at, it is used to talk about specific places, to be very specific. Okay? Contrary for the preposition on, which is used to talk about in a more general way. So we use on to refer to a position on any surface. I know I left my wallet on the table. To describe a position along a road or river, or by the sea or by a lake. Dublin is on the east coast of Ireland. To talk about a floor in a building. They live on the 15th floor. To talk about being physically on public transport. I was on the train when she phoned. But to talk about about ways of traveling, we use by. I went to Rome by train. When are we going to use on? When we want to say that we were on the train, on the bus, or on a car, okay? But if we want to say how we get to another place, we are going to use the preposition by. I went to Rome by train. I went to France by plane. Okay? And the use of in is for very, very general ideas. And also we can say that the use of in is to talk about locations within a larger area. I know my book is somewhere in this room. Can anyone see it? To talk about workplaces when we see them as a physical location. She works in an open plan office, but we use on when we talk about a farm. I've always wanted to work on a farm. For the word farm, we're going to use on. Okay? For the other ones, we're going to use in. And also with the word class. We found it difficult to concentrate in the class. Okay? So, here. Well, that's my blogger, my bibliography or reference list. So, very, I wish you succeed. Okay? So, now, I need you to just give me. So, right now it's time for questions, dudas. Es momento de hacer preguntas, dudas, para luego seguir con la actividad. ¿Dudas que tengas hasta aquí, Cecia? Si puedes hablar por el micrófono, mejor. Bueno, si no hay ninguna duda, perfecto. Vamos a comenzar con la actividad. ¿Cuál es la actividad? Bueno, pues necesito, en primer lugar, que te presentes. Que digas cuántos años tienes, no sé, lo que quieras presentar de ti. Ya hicieron una actividad, Introduce Yourself, lo vi en las tareas. Ahora necesito que lo hagan, pues, bueno, que lo hagas por voz. O sea, lo ideal sería que encendieras tu cámara, pero bueno, no tienes cámara, al menos por voz necesito que te presentes, ¿ok?
Eh, me llamo Adiciana Villanueva.
Pero en inglés.
Ay, no me lo sé en inglés.
Sí, tienes que intentarlo, como puedas, pero debes de intentarlo.
My name is Cecia Arelina Villanueva.
Uh-huh.
Tengo,
I am
I am
I am
15 años.
15 years old. I am 15 years old. Say it.
Ajá.
¿Puedes decirlo? I am
Eh,
15 years old.
I am 13,
15.
15 years old.
Uh-huh. Where do you
Eh,
live? I live
Vivo en Ciénega de Flores.
in Ciénaga de Flores.
I live in Ciénega de Flores.
Uh-huh.
Y pues ya.
How often? So now we are going to practice frequency adverbs or adverbs of frequency. How often do you watch the TV? ¿Qué tan seguido ves la televisión?
Muy poco.
Rarely or seldom. I
I
seldom
seldom
watch TV.
watch TV.
How often do you go to the movies?
Muy raro también.
Now we're going to use rarely. ¿Puedes decirlo tú solita? El
I
adverbio
want.
rarely.
¿Mandé?
El adverbio que debes de usar es rarely.
Rarely.
Ujú. Ahora dila toda la frase completa.
I want this rarely.
No. I
I
rarely
rarely
go
go
to the movies.
to the movies.
How often do you talk to your mom? ¿Qué tan seguido platicas con tu mamá?
Todos los días.
So the adverb that you need to use is always. El adverbio que necesitas usar es always. Ahora, después de mí, I
I
always
always
talk
talk
to my mom.
to my mom.
Another question. Who is your favorite actor? ¿Quién es tu actor favorito?
No tengo ninguno.
I
I
don't
don't
have it.
have it.
Another question. Which is your favorite movie? ¿Cuál es tu película favorita?
La de Dios no está muerto.
Okay, so my favorite
My favorite
movie
movie
is
is
Dios está muerto. Okay, you can say it in Spanish. Lo puedes decir en español porque es el título de una obra. Okay, another question. Can you describe how is Ciénega de Flores? ¿Puedes describir cómo es Ciénega de Flores?
muy
Is,
pequeño.
okay, repeat after me, después de mí. Ciénega de Flores
Ciénega de Flores
is
is
a very
a very
small
small
town.
town.
Okay, and how is the people who live there? ¿Cómo son las personas que viven allá?
Buenas personas.
The people
The people
who lives
who live
in Ciénega de Flores
in Ciénega de Flores
are
are
very good ones
very good one
and very kind.
and very kind.
Okay, another question. Um, how often do you go to Monterrey from Ciénega de Flores? ¿Qué tan seguido vienes a Monterrey desde Ciénega?
No, no, no voy casi.
Ya usamos esos dos. El que quieras usar, solo me lo tienes que decir completo. Puede ser seldom o rarely.
Rarely,
Ok, dígamelo completo.
I
Rarely
rarely
go to Monterrey.
go to Monterrey.
Ok. How old, another question. How old is your, do you have sisters? ¿Tienes hermanas o hermanos?
Sí,
Okay.
yes.
How old is your sister? For example, my sister is 30 years old. How old is yours?
Mm,
Mi hermana, por ejemplo, tiene 30 años. ¿Cuántos años tiene tu hermana o hermano que tengas?
tiene 18 años.
She or he
She or him
is
is
18
18
years old.
years old.
Okay. Um, Tell me, Cecia, um, which is your favorite food? ¿Cuál es tu comida favorita? For example, my favorite food is chicken. What's your favorite food?
My favorite food is spaghetti.
Spaghetti. Okay. And your favorite drink? ¿Y tu bebida favorita? For example, my favorite drink is sparkling water, Topo Chico. What's your favorite drink?
Um, is
My
water.
favorite drink is water. Say it.
My
My
favorite
favorite
drink.
drink
My favorite drink is
is
water.
water. Okay. Do you have pets? Mm, ¿Todo está bien, Cecia?
Sí.
Okay. Do you have pets? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Is it a dog or a cat?
Dog.
It's a dog. And what's his name or its name?
Tisha.
Tisha. Ok. Cecia, ya vamos a dar por terminada la sesión.
Sí.
Necesito que te pongas bien al tiro con las tareas, de verdad. Porque si te hace falta un poquito de... Sé que me entiendes, porque si me contestas sin que te lo diga en español, pero necesitas soltarte. No te debe dar vergüenza, no pasa nada. Estás en el lugar indicado para equivocarte, porque yo puedo hacer la corrección. ¿Ok? ¿Estamos de
Ok.
acuerdo? Para
Sí.
la siguiente sesión síncrona tienes que conectarte y tienes que participar más. Y espero que se conecten más compañeros tuyos.
Sí.
Bueno, si no tienes ninguna duda, ¿tienes alguna duda?
No.
¿Segura?
Segura.
Bueno, si no hay ninguna duda, entonces damos por terminada la sesión. Eh, como quiera, voy a publicar el link de la sesión en la plataforma para que todos los demás chicos y chicas tengan acceso a ella.
Ok.
Bueno, que tengas muy bonita noche, Ceci, y muchas gracias por estar en la sesión. Hasta luego. Nos vemos la
Igualmente.
próxima semana.
Bye.
Descansa.